This week on Silver Screen, we take a look at the aftermath of the historic floods that hit our community 2 weeks ago.
Good afternoon, Dutch Fort. Today is Friday, October 16th, and your Silver Screen Report starts now.
The historic rain that began October 3rd put South Carolina in shambles. Sam Aaron has the facts.
With flooding affecting South Carolina, the state is in pieces. At the height of the crisis, over 400,000 residents were under a boiled water advisory affecting 16 water systems. More than 11 dams have broke, with around 35 dams being monitored. Currently, 15 South Carolinians have died, with over 175 water rescues. To make matters worse, high tide in Charleston peaked higher than Hurricane Hugo in 1989, according to the National Weather Service. With the historic rainfall, 11 trillion gallons of rain fell. That's 1/3 the volume of Lake Tahoe, and enough rain to end the California drought. Rainfall totaled above 12 inches in Columbia, Sumter, Summerville, and Charleston. Currently, 2,541 National Guard members are on duty, working hard to protect the Carolinas. District 5 has been devastated from the flooding, affecting communities including Irmo High School, Weepart, and Nursery Road. The flood was more than a break from school. It was a tragedy. This has been Sam Aaron with your Silver Screen Report.
First responders were a significant factor in Columbia's recovery efforts. Caleb Hanna checks it out.
Last week in South Carolina, the state was hit by one of the worst natural disasters in the state's history.
It's probably one of the most significant events that's hit this city since, I would say, probably the fires around the Civil War era.
Many people that lost their homes, their cars, they can't get to work, some people can't get to school, so it's just an inconvenience to everyone.
Yes, I think this, because a crisis like this doesn't happen every year, and as far as I have experienced, this is the first time I experienced something like this.
Members of the community used their time and abilities to help out people in need.
My job was the incident commander. I was overseeing the operations from within the fire department and the fire service side of things.
I feel like it's important for us to give back to the community because we would expect the same.
It's important to remember that we're here to help in any capacity. If someone needs help, it's okay to come out and say, I probably need volunteers to do this, or I need donations of this kind. It's okay to do that because it affects all of us in one way or another.
Many people sustained damage from the flooding, while others were out helping those in need.
I was affected by the flooding. In fact, I was very surprised because my basement was totally flooded, and I was in a panic because I was by myself in the house, and I had to clean up that, and I didn't know at that moment who to reach or contact to assist me.
A few people that had some flooding that was not major significance, but yet, damage to their homes. And we did have a few injuries, not a lot. The biggest thing for us was just a very long, stressful week. At least the first 36 hours were what we would consider to be crazy busy here. We ran about 900 calls for service in that first 24 to 36 hour period, and most of those were active rescues.
I sustained a leaky roof. Water came in through the ceiling, but it's not anything near what other people went through. I know people lost property, some people lost their lives in the flood, so mine is negligible compared to what people lost in the floods.
Our folks did a lot of swift water rescues, did have a couple fires within that time, and even had to perform rescues for some firefighters that had gotten in trouble with water sweeping them away, trying to get to victims and those types of things. We had well over 13 rescues that were considered with helicopters coming in and lowering people down to take people out of areas that we couldn't get into, and numerous boat rescues.
This has been Caleb Hanna with your Silver Screen Report.
After a full week off from school, last week, some students and teachers found their typical routes compromised or altered. Trey Martin checks it out.
Because of recent flooding, students and teachers' transportation routes were affected this week.
Tamer Road down there by Kennerly.
Lost Creek, two portions of Lost Creek. One part was completely destroyed. The other part was just one side of the road was washed out. So within the Dutch Fork area, there were at least 3 major roads that impacted us.
Road closures were inconvenient for students and delayed arrival times to school.
I believe what was wrong was that there was a bridge out somewhere on Kennerly. I pulled up to it, saw the road closed signs. I just had to pull a U-turn and go back the other way.
We basically had to go near the roadblock and turn the bus around, and we ended up getting at the school around 8:17.
It didn't affect me all that much, but it was a good, 5-10 minutes out of the way.
Pretty much when people had to turn around, there was only one more way for them to get to school as quick as possible, and that was Coon Road. And when we got there, it was packed because everybody was trying to go that one way to either get to the middle school or the high school.
According to Weissman, a handful of buses had to be rerouted as a result of the flooding.
For Dutch Fork, we had 30 buses that covered the Dutch Fork area with 3 major roads that were impacted. So that equated to about 8 bus routes that it impacted.
I ride bus 7. And the bus came kind of early today, probably about 1 to 2 minutes early.
We were fortunate. I talked to my counterparts in Lexington and Richland County. They had to change just about every bus route.
I mean, I'm sure the buses were affected because, with that road closed, the buses could only come in from one direction through the front of the school, so I'm sure that caused some traffic delays.
Students should not worry, as workers are doing everything they can to fix the roads in a timely manner.
I expect Old Tama to be up within 5 working days. Lost Creek, the far end closer to Broad River Road, that's a major breach, so I think that's going to take a lot longer.
It's going to take a while because pretty much they want to focus on stuff like I-95 and I-20, like Broad River and I-26. So it's going to be a very lengthy process before they finally get to the smaller little roads.
Considering how long it's taken to fix bridges around here in the past, I'd assume that it's going to take quite a good bit of time before that bridge is up and running again.
This has been Trey Martin with your Silver Screen Report.
The past 2 weeks, people around the community have been gathering supplies to help those who have lost everything in the flood. Maddie Mason has the story.
When the devastation of the flood hit South Carolina, Cynthia Shepard wanted to do everything she could to help. This led to hundreds of people not only helping the community, but helping the whole state.
We thought it was just going to be us and a couple days, and it turned into 10 days, 12-hour days each day, and just constant work. With the guys delivering and the guys loading and offloading and all the generous people, it's just been amazing.
We had so many volunteers last week while we were out of school that we actually ended up having to turn a few away, which was amazing, but we probably had between 50 and 100 every day. We had a lot more help when the schools were out. The students from Chapin and Dutch Fork and Spring Hill that came and helped us were valuable to us.
It's been completely overwhelming. There's been times where we've had 2 lines of cars backed up all the way to the road in the pouring rain, dropping off items quicker than we could get them inside. It's been fantastic.
When the church members first began volunteering, they were hoping to collect certain items that people who were affected by the flood need. A few items such as clothes, toiletries, food, water, and bed sheets were needed.
With devastation comes shock and then grief, and we wanted to offer assistance in not only physical provisions, we've offered toiletries and bedding and everything for a family whose house was flooded.
What we're accomplishing here is helping out the people who have been affected by the flood in a lot of ways by providing clothing, food, supplies, and making runs to shelters and homes.
After 10 days of the most generous people in Chapin, Irmo, and Ballantyne coming by here and giving us water, food, clothing donations, and medicine, and money, and gift cards, we've been able to not only help our families locally here, some in the district, really all over South Carolina, we've been able to help and to get rid of some of the impact that they've had to face with the floods.
The flood has lifted people's spirits. We are in a position where we can help other people, and it has brought an entire community together.
For Shepard, her faith and gratefulness for her church is what made her the most thankful for this whole experience.
It has been amazing. I must say, if you don't see God's hands in this, it's something that's been so overwhelming to me. We actually are members of this church, and for them to open the church to us, first of all, and then let us just have it for the past 10 days has just been amazing to me.
This has been Maddie Mason with your Silver Screen Report.
For this week's Kids in the Hall, we asked students what they did to help flood victims.
The top 10 people on our team were invited to go, and we cleaned up bathrooms in Murraywood Pool, and at Jackson's friend's house from church, we cleaned up the house and picked up carpet.
My neighbors had some flood damage in their basement, and so I went over there and I helped them. We cleared out their basement. They had 5 inches of flood water in their basement, so we ripped up the floorboards, we pulled everything out, and took it to a dump. And so that was 4 or 5 neighbors.
I volunteered at the YMCA and I delivered water to people who needed it.
I went out to an apartment complex with a bunch of other football players. We went out there and we basically moved stuff out of the apartment rooms to make sure they could move to other locations.
The District 5 Foundation is one organization helping many of the families affected by the flood. Here's Malik Brazil with more.
District 5 Foundation is designed to help students, particularly in District 5, that have been affected by the flood.
The District 5 Foundation is a resource that we have in place to help our families here locally. They have done numerous things.
The District 5 Foundation is a group of volunteers that support the district for those things that don't come out of the regular school budgets. They're like the extras.
Guidance and teachers throughout District 5 are available for students that need help.
We are trying to reach out to the students and tell them if they need any help whatsoever that they can come to the office and meet with their school counselor. We have resources available to them. We had a meeting the other day at the district with social workers from the district, school psychologists, nurses, and school counselors. And during that time, we wanted to let people know how they could get into the system. A lot of people don't realize how much is involved if they've had damage to their house or if they've been displaced or whatever their needs are. There are people willing to help them.
When you think in terms of what just happened, there are a number of things that families need, but they may need it further down the road. For instance, they may need furniture, but they may not have housing right now to put furniture in. So we are thinking long-term and short-term.
There's been an outpouring of volunteers that have assisted in the relief effort.
I think that this helps bring the town of Columbia and everyone that got affected together because we're all impacting the community.
It has been phenomenal. I mean, I am just so proud to be a part of this community because once we found out that the weather was on the way, people started preparing. And once it actually hit, say Monday, the school district was closed, but the school district was not closed. People were out working. They were out checking on people in their neighborhoods. They were going beyond their neighborhood to take donations.
There are still things that students can do to help out.
The best avenue to help would be to contact your local school, your school that's in your community. It doesn't really matter whether it's the elementary, middle, or high school level. We have our counselors there set up to give direction as far as making donations. We also have our social workers who can help with that also.
We have a volunteer sheet. We have one here available in guidance, and we also have one available in the front office, so that if a parent or a student wanted to volunteer, they ask the kinds of things that you'd like to volunteer to do, whether you want to, make meals or labor, volunteer, whatever it is that you can do to help that family.
This has been Malik Brazil with your Silver Screen Report.
The SAT word of the week is accommodating, an adjective meaning helpful, obliging, or polite. And now for some announcements. The SAT originally scheduled for October 10th has been moved to tomorrow. If you were registered for the 10th, you only need to reprint your original ticket. Bring your ticket and a picture ID to be admitted to the test. The PSAT originally scheduled for this Wednesday has been moved to October 28th. This will not be a delayed opening. And here's Adam with more.
Thanks, Thomas. The Girls Soccer Goal Club will hold a fundraiser Tuesday from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Ballantyne Chick-fil-A. How to plan and pay for your College 101 will be next Thursday at 6 p.m. in the auditorium. The event is free, but you need to register at cfsc.com. There will be a free IT camp for 9th graders on Saturday, October 31st from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Email lexrich5itcamp@gmail.com for more information. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week, Foxes. Friday, October 13th.
It's hard, but you just gotta feel it, man.
Yeah, just remember that.
I didn't even see that there. 8th. Nope, it's October 10th.
This has been Adam Amick with your Silver Screen Report. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I can't believe I just did that.
You just have to say thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. I forgot so much about that part. I was so focused.